Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I just got back from going fishing, and we had a huge problem from this morning until right now, and that is I haven't had any coffee, zero coffee, no caffeine. Well, actually I had a Diet Dr. Pepper, but that doesn't count. But I'm just now having my first dose of caffeine, and it's instant coffee. For those of you out there who have never had instant coffee, if you really want to transcend from a average Joe coffee drinker into a real man, try instant coffee. It tastes like garbage, but it will really get you going. But every once in a while, in an emergency situation, I'll drink instant coffee. By the way, I caught the biggest fish on the boat. My youngest is over there. Do you have anything to say about that?
Did I catch the most?
Okay, he says he caught the most, but we're not focusing on most. We're focusing on the biggest. I'll show a picture of that maybe later. Okay, I got a lot to cover, and you can go to DAI XRP if you want to join the Patreon. If you'd rather join through YouTube, click this join button right down here below, because I'll have a lot more to cover in there. Reminder, if you want to have if you're tired of having an exchange where you have to email a support line and you can't find out what happened to your account or what went wrong, or if an exchange locked up and you can't talk to someone, if you're sick of that, then you might want to look at Caleb and Brown. I did. Go to xrpwealth589.com. I created that domain, and it'll forward you right to my Caleb and Brown. I'm an affiliate with them. It'll forward you right to the sign up today. You'll get a person you can talk to, and you'll get institutional grade custody that the big boys use, and you'll get the liquidity necessary to sell when the time comes. Okay, the markets have rebounded a little bit. You got a 216 XRP. Now, what drove the markets down yesterday is this controversy with Elon Musk and Donald Trump. Apparently they're having some kind of fallout. I don't know if I buy it. Here on CoinDesk, it says Crypto Daybook Americas. Bitcoin rebounded from overnight lows sparked by Trump-Musk clash, with traders looking toward non-farm payrolls, report clues on direction. So anyway, this thing blew the markets up yesterday. But this was the tweet Elon Musk said. He said, "Time to drop the really big bomb. Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That is the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day, DJ T." Now, I've always kind of thought that Donald Trump was in the files. Now, that doesn't, because you're in the files does not mean that you did something wrong. I've always felt like Donald Trump was sent to take the big guys out in this country for a long time. And if you look up here, this X22 report says, "How do you force Democrats and rhinos to demand the release of the Epstein files? Just tell them Trump is named in them. The show has begun." I hope that that's correct, but if it is correct, it's already happening. This is a congressman saying, "I'm calling on Pam Bondi to immediately release the Epstein files. It's time we find out the truth about President Trump." Now, what's interesting is what makes you think maybe that's a possibility is watch all the Democrats like Senator Warren that absolutely hate Trump. There's no way on planet Earth that those people like Senator Warren and some of the hardcore Trump haters, there's no way that they wouldn't immediately call out for these files to be released unless they or someone that they are close to really did do something and it's in the files. And that, to me, is the more interesting thing to watch. If you don't see Senator Elizabeth Warren calling for the Epstein files to be released, something's not adding up. And I've covered this before on this channel because Cowboy Crypto, who is the official cowboy of the Digital Asset Investor channel, he showed a tweet not too long ago that had documents showing that possibly her ex-husband was in the thing, was on one of those planes. I don't know that for a fact, but I remember it. Now, here's the other thing that is massive that's going on. I covered it yesterday. Look, folks, this Circle IPO, it went off, it came out at $31. Now it's at $114. It finished yesterday, I believe, don't quote me, at somewhere around $85. Now, if you don't think that this is the Netscape moment for crypto, you need to think again. We've already got proof of it today. I'm going to show it to you in a minute. Let's go through this. $31, now $114. Any of you that were around during the dot-com boom, you remember it like it was yesterday. All they do now is they cover the dot-com crash. I think you'll have, it doesn't matter what the new technology is or what the new, any kind of boom, which we haven't even had yet in crypto and crypto IPOs, any kind of boom, animal spirits come in and you'll eventually have crashes. But we're at the beginning of the beginning. This, I believe, Circle was the Netscape moment for crypto. And let's look at it. The first thing is, anybody who thinks that Ripple buying Circle's off the table, you need to think again. This is from Smoke. Look right here. Second, don't hastily conclude that Circle's M&A prospects are dead. Potential synergies with Coinbase or Ripple are real, but the deals failed primarily over pricing disagreements. Price discovery in the public market could help narrow the gap and reignite negotiations. It may even attract new bids from traditional finance, especially given recent reports that mega banks are exploring their own stable coin issuance. This thing is just getting started. Now here's the Circle CEO.
Broadband came, you started to get mobile devices and Wi-Fi. The UX standards for how you did like a high fidelity kind of experience on the internet became possible. And then basically what was interesting about that is after 2004, it never turned back. The internet scaled up and the infrastructure scaled up. And I believe that's basically where we are with crypto. It will never go back, meaning it's going to become pervasive now. There's not going to be a question about is like crypto a thing. It's just going to be pervasive as infrastructure in the world. Coming back to one of your earlier questions, 2025 is going to be an awesome, awesome year. Broadband.
Now he's referencing broadband because if you remember when the dot-com boom started, you had dial-up connections. And so you had those dial-up connections, and so you had two waves, really, of what happened in that when the internet came along. You had the dot-com boom, which basically was before everybody was ready. I've talked on this channel before about Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban, to me, is the luckiest guy from the dot-com boom because he created broadcast.com where you can listen to NBA but you can listen to basketball games and stuff like that over the internet. But the internet speeds were not ready for that. I remember going on to broadcast.com and it would time out. You couldn't even listen to the things. The guy still sold it to Yahoo for, as I recall, it may have been $6 billion, something crazy like that. The guy cashes out, gets out, and then is rich, and then came all the crashes. But he was smart enough to know to get out. He was probably smart enough to know that his internet company, broadcast.com, was too early and wanted to sell to get out. And same for all those companies with no business model. I'm sitting here drinking I'm having to drink my caffeine. I was about to crash just now. I haven't had any today. So I said here, crypto's Netscape moment. The IPO and bull runs are coming. The internet boomed from 1995 to 1999, maybe, late, or I can't remember. Anyway, but it was around 1999. After the Netscape IPO set it off. In my opinion, we're about to see at least 2 to 5 years of a crypto boom. I think that's what's coming. Uphold gets it. Once the dominoes start falling, there's no stopping the chain reaction. I think that's where we're headed. Now look, Arthur Hayes from the founder of BitMEX, he says he sees it too. We've come full circle. What a glorious day. The 2017 ICO ethos has been transmuted into 2025, 2027 crypto IPO craze. This is the start of the mania. It will end with an EOS-like blockbuster IPO that extracts insane amounts of fiat capital and tanks on the open. But the end, I believe, is long. We've got to go through the beginning first, folks. And then here is your evidence that I'm right about this. After Gemini saw what happened with the Circle IPO, they've confidentially filed for an IPO with the SEC. Details on share count and pricing to be decided. Launch date will depend on SEC review and market conditions. The writing is on the wall, folks, if you're paying attention. I'm going to play this and then we'll go into the group because I got a lot more. Ripple aiming to be a full service infrastructure provider. This is Ripple Astana Financial Services Authority Digital Assets Workshop. It had Reese Merrick, that guy who I can't pronounce his name, and this guy from AVSA. But listen to what, I think this is Reese Merrick.
I'd like to hear from you what is Ripple's sort of vision for the digital assets ecosystem and how it can contribute to that, and then for the region, like what is Ripple's sort of ambitions here?
I think we're extremely excited about the space as a whole. If you think we've been playing in the space since 2012, for a large portion of that time, we didn't have that element of support from regulators, from FIs. I really feel like we're at a tipping point right now where suddenly the regulation is looking to keep up with the technology and innovation. So from a Ripple perspective, I think it's business as usual from our side, but really we're starting to see a huge amount of traction. I think we aim to be that full infrastructure provider across the market. So whether that is for cross-border payments, whether that is for stablecoin settlement on off-ramp, then if it is tokenization, providing that support to be able to do that on the XRP ledger. And then obviously the custody to be able to, safely secure those assets. So from us, it's a fully kind of holistic approach where, and we're seeing that. We work with large FIs. They don't want the complexity of working with 5 different partners for 5 different elements of completely new technology to their business. It becomes quite problematic internally to be able to get that amount of buy-in and sign-off. So really that's, as I mentioned earlier, the senior adults in the room when it comes to being able to provide that guidance.
The adults in the room.
Provide that strategy and ultimately provide the solutions that are needed to take from 0 to 1, but then also beyond that to continue to build and evolve kind of the technology in terms of what their offering is.
Okay, that was an interesting video. Okay, we're going to go into daixrp.com. If you'd rather join through, that's the Patreon. If you'd rather join through YouTube, click that join button right below any of my YouTube videos. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family. I caught the biggest fish on my fishing trip, but my youngest caught the most fish, or so he says. Here we go.